were so close to greatness. We were so close. Hey everyone, it's Don G. Corleone here, and I'm here with a brand new movie review. And this movie review is going to be for a film that has just come out this weekend, has come out officially today, and I'm recording this morning as I'm having my coffee. I'm recording this. But anyway, yeah, the film that came out this weekend is for newest film in the DC Extended Universe. It's not a standalone DC film, it's for that universe. And that film is going to be for none other than 2022's Black Adam. Yeah, so this was a film I was averagely hyped for. I didn't know much about the character, so I couldn't really have much hype for this movie. But I was just excited to see another DC film, especially because I've been retired from Marvel and moving on to DC now. So yeah, but anyway. What is this film about? Well, after nearly 5,000 years of imprisonment, Black Adam, an anti-hero from the ancient city of Kahndaq, is unleashed into modern times. His brute tactics and way of justice attract the attention of the Justice Society of America, who tries to stop his rampage. Teach him how to be a hero more than a villain, and must team up to stop a force more powerful than Adam himself. Yeah, it's a plot movie. So how was this film made? Well, New Line Cinema began the development of a Shazam feature film in the early 2000s based on a DC Comics character Captain Marvel. The title came from the wizard Shazam, who gives the hero his powers, with DC unable to use the title Captain Marvel due to legal issues. Disney. Peter Siegel signed on to direct the film in April 2006, and Dwayne Johnson was approached about portraying Captain Marvel later that year. By November 2007, Johnson was also interested in the film's antagonist, Black Adam, and received positive responses from fans about him possibly playing that character. Development on the film was placed on hold by January 2009, but had begun again by April 2014 when Warner Brothers, parent company New Line, and DC began planning a slate of superhero films for its shared universe, the DC Extended Universe, that kicked off with Man of Steel. That August, Johnson said he was still attached to the film, but had not yet decided if he would play Captain Marvel or Black Adam. A month later, Johnson announced that he would portray Black Adam. Then in January 2017, Johnson met with DC Geoff Johns to discuss the project after studio executives grew concerned that an actor of Johnson's profile was being used as a villain and supporting character film instead of starring in it. Following that meeting, they decided to split the project into two films, Shazam for 2019, starring the hero, what's supposed to be called Captain Marvel, who DC had since rebranded as Shazam, and Black Adam, with Johnson starring as the title anti-hero. Johnson said the two characters would meet on screen in the future. Johns confirmed in July that Johnson would not appear in Shazam, though his likeness is used in that film for a magical hologram of Black Adam conjured by the wizard Shazam. And then Adam's skill as I was hired to write the screenplay for Black Adam in October 2017, when Johnson said to produce the film with Danny and Howard Garcia, Stephen Buck's Productions, along with Via Flynn of Flynn Picture Co. At that time, there were plans for Johnson to first appear as Black Adam in its sequel to Suicide Squad, which had Gavin O'Connor attached as writer and possible director. The intention was for the members of the Suicide Squad to be tracking a weapon of mass destruction, which would be revealed as Black Adam in a small role for Johnson. But these plans were abandoned when O'Connor left that film in 2018. Stephenson completed a draft of the Black Adam script in April 2018, when Johnson said there was potential for filming to begin in 2019, and at the end of August, he had handed in another draft and further revisions were underway. Aaron Garcia said that had given Shazam and Black Adam their own films would allow the best movie for each character to be developed. He added that their depiction of Black Adam was not going to be softened up for audiences, and he is definitely not the Boy Scout superhero. He's the guy that's like, okay, cross him well, he'd ripped his head off. In December, Johnson said filming would not begin until the end of 2019 at the earliest because he was committed with Jumanji: The Next Level and Red Notice. So after all that, the film was finally completed and marketed. Black Adam would have its world premiere in Mexico City on October 3rd, 2022, and has been officially released to date in the United States on October 21st, 2022, by Warner Bros. Pictures. And the film was actually released in several countries on October 20th, a day earlier than its domestic release. So far, it has received mixed reviews from critics. As for my reaction, well, this film was the best I probably saw for the film's release in October 2022, but it was quite a mixed bag. But it was slightly enjoyable to me for sure. I think the movie was fine. Actually, it was pretty messy in a lot of ways. The villain was quite lacking in depth, and the pacing was too fast, making some scenes feel quite chaotic. The character's development was okay for Black Adam and the JSA, but the boy that has a pretty large amount of screen time couldn't make me care much about him, and I couldn't even remember his name. And you know the line? A bad plan is better than no plan at all. It's a line that actually pops up at various points during Black Adam. And while it's meant to be a whimsical comment regarding the task at hand, by a second repetition, it starts to feel like the movie apologizing for itself and its muddled storytelling. But let's start with the good qualities. The start of the movie was quite good. When you first meet Black Adam, it feels like a superhero movie mixed with flavors and graphic violence of Indiana Jones. Watching a man be reduced to ash in front of your eyes felt like the scene for Raiders of the Lost Ark with the melting faces. Also, Dwayne's movements, lack of effort to tear vehicles in half, etc. was perfect to watch. As an individual, the strength would do these things with little effort like when trampling grass. That task is the capture of an exceedingly powerful ancient metahuman known as Tetham, and despite the movie's best efforts to jazz up increasingly predictable superhero genre, this one doesn't care if he kills people. Black Adam feels like both too much and not enough. And none of its narrative gambits are helped by a sludgy visual style that's either distractingly artificial or just disturbingly gloomy, except when it manages to be both. I mean, it certainly does start off with a lot of potential. The initial opening tells the story of the origins of Black Adam in the city of Kandak, and enters into the forerunner of the conflict over the struggle for the cursed crown of Earthurnium and the rest, because of the fact that Dur is really a fantastic action show with the brutality of Teth Adam who doesn't know killing. The main code is kind of just to play and kill. Here, this for ordinary viewers can be confusing to think that Black Adam is a superhero. No, Black Adam is more of an anti-hero. And even in the comics, apparently Black Adam's a villain too. This feels like multiple movies awkwardly glued together. The opening could easily have been extended to feature length, but they didn't want to spend that long in ancient times. So instead of it is a massive, necessary yes still, but could have been slowly trimmed down. Info dump. At times it is very gritty and dark. Then others it's franchise friendly, quippy, breezy. Let's bring in some young heroes that can keep appealing for years to come. Appearing for years to come. In many ways, it feels like not a soft reboot, but a hard recalibration. It forgoes time directly to Shazam, instead of opening up the universe by introducing the Justice Society of America via Amanda Waller from the Suicide Squad films, although not to the point of explaining why justice requires both a society and a league, and ripping up the established order of things. Literally in a fist fight with Hawkman in a teen's bedroom, Adam rips and punches his way through posters, the memorabilia of the current members of the Justice League, which was actually pretty awesome. I'll say that, a pretty awesome fight. As for The Rock's performance in this movie, well, The Rock here is no different than really just playing himself. There's no change that can distinguish between the previous Rock films. Even many new innocents think in this film that this is actually Black Adam cosplaying as the Rock and Dwayne Johnson character. And there was definitely one great character in this movie. For me personally, fortunately, the savior character of this film was Pierce Brosnan's performance as Dr. Fate. Dr. Fate can be said that the DC version of Doctor Strange gives treatment vibes for viewers who tend to remember Marvel's Doctor Strange from 2016, but they can at the same time compare it again. But Dr. Fate was a very great character, honestly. I think he was probably my favorite character in the whole film, and probably Pierce Brosnan's best performance in a very long time. Easily. I kind of wish we got to know a little more of him. He was quite an interesting character. As for the action scenes, well, the action is fun. Occasionally there's times when it would forget that it's essentially nothing other than meaningless flash, except for when human beings who are not invulnerable, do not have immense superpowers, or put in danger. Those fighting against their occupiers, such as Adriana and her son Ammon, as well as those characters. Well, now I know the son's name. Sorry, I just forgot about it earlier, but... And speaking of characters, as for Black Adam himself, I mean, Black Adam utilizes its completely new cast brilliantly. Like, it's a great introduction to the lore that surrounds Black Adam, and an even bigger exploration of the oddities within the superhero realm. There is, of course, sacrifices made in the film in regards to some of the characters' screen time, but everyone gets a pretty healthy amount that it's really easy to walk out and have a clear favorite. And like Hawkman and Doctor Fate, we're definitely some pretty good characters for sure. Unfortunately, the film does struggle with its human characters. Most of them were pretty generic and bland, but they serve the story by steering Black Adam in the right direction. Like Adrian and Ammon, they're okay characters, but they weren't really that great to me. They were kind of just there to be like filler. They were kind of just there to be sidekicks. But there was an element of fun to be had whereby the human side of the story actually works against the Justice Society, and it's an interesting dynamic and does raise a lot of questions regarding the purpose of superheroes. Not only that, but it also helps further ignite the rivalry between Hawkman and Black Adam, which was pretty much an absolute highlight, for sure. I mean, was it as great of a rivalry as Bloodsport and Peacemaker? Well, no, their rivalry was funnier and better, but Black Adam and Hawkman's rivalry here was pretty good too, and pretty good rival chemistry. And the screenplay from a trio of writers hardly knows what to do with these superpowered folks except to fall back on the dullest cliches at times, including one being a superhero obsessive who tries to bring Teth Adam up to speed on capes and catchphrases. The idea of introducing new heroes with powers first, origin later, seems appealing on paper, but knowing nothing about the Justice Society and its members doesn't make them particularly interesting adversaries for our anti-hero protagonist. And to the film's benefit, the action takes place almost entirely on Kandak, a fictional Middle Eastern country. A lengthy prelude tells us that literally people are the first ever self-governed there, but they're largely enslaved by a despotic ruler who forces them to dig up a rare mineral called Eternium, and because he needs it to forego a powerful crown infused by the power of demons. But Teth Adam refused to be a slave and fought back with the powers granted to him by the gods. So yeah, it was a pretty interesting backstory for the Black Adam character. And then, of course, we have another superhero characters in this movie, the Justice Society of America. Introducing the Justice Society of America and Black Adam kind of seemed like an odd choice when they were announced, and nothing that occurs in the film justifies their participation. In the comics, the Justice Society of America formed during World War II to answer FDR's call to protect America and repel Axis invaders after Pearl Harbor, but over the decades, the Justice Society of America has been a legacy group where the established veterans teach and mentor the next generation of heroes. So it felt kind of weird introducing them here. This was actually my first time seeing these characters because I never knew anything about the Justice Society of America. Yeah, so it was nice getting to actually know them finally here. Still, this film did a better job showcasing the Justice Society of America members than Birds of Prey and the fantabulous emancipation of Harley Quinn. Yet it felt like with the Justice Society of America, when an expanded roster could have easily carried their own film, even. Like, they could have just given them their own movie instead of throwing them in this. Hawkman and Dr. Fate's long-standing friendship kind of makes for some quality scenes between Hodge and Brosnan, while Centineo and Swindle have their own strong scenes as the team's rookies, and they're kind of just there to be the comic reliefs, not really rookies, and they didn't really serve much of a purpose except to just be the comedy of the film. Really, but yeah, the Justice Society of America, I think they should have just had their own movie. Would have been better that way. Instead of just throwing them in this, just to give more superhero characters. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention, if you guys want to know what the post-credit scene is, well, I can't spoil that. I'm not going to spoil much, but please do stick around for the post-credit scene. Because the post-credit scene is going to blow you away with a surprise cameo. So due to a mix of both good and bad qualities I mentioned, Black Adam is not quite the superhero film we deserve, but it might just be the one we need right now, especially with a pretty sluggish fall season for movies. Wayne Johnson has set the stage to be a new member of the DCU, has a great sense of being able to read an audience, know what it wants, and deliver accordingly. Is it better? It is better than people say, definitely. Although at first glance it seems to be a film simply made for the action and explosions, it does have a story, strong dialogues, and character development. The visual effects are astonishing in every single way, and people who had likely watched watched a few Marvel or DC films will definitely love the visuals in this film. So in the end, Black Adam is not among the best DCU films, but it's certainly still a decent enough watch for sure, and one of the better films this fall for sure. Man, this fall has not been super great compared to winter, spring, and summer for this year for movies. Word. And so, but honestly, I would recommend either seeing it in theaters or just waiting for the streaming option for this film as my recommendation. Anyway, that's it for my review of Black Adam. If you're wondering how I'm going to rank Black Adam, here's how I'm going to rank this movie. So overall, if you were looking for a new comic book film to close off the year, then I would easily give this movie a watch on any streaming device. And if you're wondering how I'm going to rank Black Adam, I'm going to give Black Adam a 7 out of 10. There we go. That wraps up my review for Black Adam. So, I think that pretty much wraps up the films coming out this October. So, may not have been the best October, but at least we had something actually enjoyable to close it off for new releases. At least. Anyways. And still trying to see Terrifier 2. I think I might have found a time and dates, but we'll have to see if I'm available for it. Until then, that'll be it for this review. Thank you all for watching. If you like this and want to see more, and don't forget to like and subscribe to Don G. Corleone.